and a lot of these churches even, getting people conditioned into believing that we're building God's kingdom on earth. We're not building anything, because it's not about us. When he arrives with his angelic forces in heaven and on white horses at Armageddon, that's when you'll know he's here. He's not going to be building anything right away. He's going to be destroying all the evil off the earth. And he's coming in heaven and with a white horse. And so until you see that at the War of Armageddon, then he is not here building a kingdom. But before that happens, you'll see Satan on earth, posing as the Son of God, posing as God, to set up a fake kingdom on earth. And that's the whole thing about the fifth dimension and the New Age alien plan about ascending into light beings and all this crap and garbage they have going on. That's the alien agenda. And so once you see the demise of the New World Order agenda, it will give way to that. Then we're going to see the alien agenda come into the forefront. And then once all that is destroyed, when the Lord comes, the battle of Armageddon, then he will set up his millennial reign, but not until then, folks. And so we have huge deceptions coming, and people are already falling for it. And people are so ripe for deceptions, and you can't help them. I try. People think I'm nuts. They think I'm a nutcase. I don't know what's going on. People won't listen. They love deceptions. If it sounds good, they fall right for it. They just, for some reason, can't think that A and B, A is good, B is evil, so I have to choose A or B, that there's C, D, and E, because A and B are both evil, don't choose either one. You know, there's more options. But if the television or the preachers don't tell them that, then they don't believe that there is. People are living in a box, this huge mind-controlled box. I don't care if it's a religious box or a political box or a New Age box. People are stuffed in boxes. You know, you tried to warn the Christian crowd 8 years ago about George Bush to get kicked off lists. You're Brandon an apostate. Told, called every name in the book. Oh, you're not a real Christian. How could you not support Bush? And now it's the same thing about Ron Paul. Try to warn them about Ron Paul. See how far you get. They love the deceptions because they hear something that sounds good. They want to hear that. Oh, he seems like such a nice guy. You know what? When George Bush was running for office, folks, did you know we were going to be in war for 8 years in Iraq? Do you think he talked about that on his campaign trail? Did he tell you he was going to run the country into debt for $1 billion a day? Did he tell you he was going to ship all of our jobs overseas and get rid of the entire middle class in America? Did he tell you any of that when he was on his campaign trail? No, he told you everything you wanted to hear, just like Ron Paul's doing, and just like the Antichrist is going to do when he arrives. He's going to be the best one yet because he's going to promise to get everybody out of debt. He's coming with bribes. He's coming with everything everybody wants to hear. Oh, I'm going to give you money and all your debts will be erased. And people say, oh, it's hogwash, it's Nasara, and blah, blah, blah. They're just changing the name, folks. They're keeping the same agenda. We've made Nasara so known and so exposed that they're just going to keep the agenda, their plans. They're just going to change the name. But you will see over and over and over again in the Bible codes how they come with bribes. They're bribing mankind to accept them, to join their kingdom on earth, and they're going to do it with money and economics. That's how they do it. That's how, you want to tell somebody something they want to hear to vote for you? Tell them you're going to make them rich. Every vote in America. And even if America somehow, there's no even ifs, because let me tell you what's going to happen. What's going to happen is when Maitreya arrives, he's going to take over America. He's going to own America. And so it doesn't matter if Hillary Clinton gives him the keys to America or he takes us over by force. He is going to control America. And one of the things I've been seeing about Hillary Clinton, and I'll go back to talking about Obama, because they have a plan. And I saw this in the codes a week ago, and I was just like, what? I wasn't really surprised, but it's like, oh, good grief, Where since Obama's a lizard anyway, and they were just going to kick him off the earth. They're using him. And what they're going to do is prop him up as a presidential candidate, and then run Hillary beside him, and narrow it down to those just two candidates, and then take Obama out, assassinate Obama. So it leaves Hillary, and in the minds of millions of voters, she's the top candidate because the media's done a character assassinated all the other candidates, so nobody will vote for him. And that leaves Hillary standing alone when Obama's assassinated, to be chosen as president. And this is a real plan of theirs. And Obama was going along with it. He doesn't care. He's a lizard. And so he was just here to fulfill a role. Just pretty much like John Kerry against George Bush. You know, they're Skull Bonesman brothers. They're fellow Masons. They can't operate against each other according to their own rules and secret societies. John Kerry was fulfilling a role, and that was it. And it helped Bush get elected again. And the same way with Obama. Obama's filling a role to help Hillary get in the White House. Now, Plan B, since I exposed Plan A, they probably won't do it. Plan B is Obama does win because he has a majority vote. People love this lizard. And so he brings in Hillary as his vice president. And what's going to happen is Obama is going to get hit by this necrosis that's going to swamp this country. And I'm going to talk about this necrosis. But he's going to get hit with this necrosis. And he's going to end up dying. And then Hillary takes over by default. Because either way, even back since 2003, I've said Hillary is the most dominant person in America in the Bible codes for the last days. I've always warned about Hillary Clinton. Either she does it in the public's eye or behind the scenes. She is probably the most dominant person I've ever seen in the codes, besides Satan himself. And besides me, of course. Because we're neck to neck, me and Hillary. We're always going at it. She's for the evil, I'm for the good. And so it's kind of funny the way it works out. But she is the most dominant person to be bringing about martial law to America, to bring persecution to the church. That's not going to be Maitreya, and she's just going to step aside and allow it to happen. And, of course, they've already prepared all that because they've got all these encampments, these camps they've built, these incinerators. They're all set for martial law in the country. Surprise! It's not really a martial law as you think it is. It's a persecution of the church that's coming. And that's what the Lord warned me on January 1st. I always have a word with the Lord, so I didn't have a show last week. Because I always spend my New Year's Eve with the Lord. You know, I watch the ball fall in New York or whatever, wait for it to blow up, and if it doesn't blow up, I go on to other things. But I always spend that night with the Lord because He always gives me we always talk about the coming year, and I always look forward to that. It's like our time, you know. And He's told me that, you know, the church is going to undergo persecution. And I've seen that in the codes. The church is going to be, it's like a compost. They're just going to be tried. And He told me they're going to be tried. They're going to be tested. And they're going to be calling out to Him. They're going to be praying to Him. They're going to be in shock because they expected to be raptured up. They can't understand why they're being persecuted, why they're being hauled off in chains to these camps and burned and tortured and tormented. And He's not going to listen to them. He's not going to hear them. He's not even going to listen. Because there's so many in the churches that are going to have to be tested for their real love and loyalty to Him. Because right now they're talking the talk. They're attacking the Lord's real people. Instead of doing anything real valuable for the Lord Himself, they're in religion for themselves. And just various reasons. He's going to allow these people to be tested. So many of us have already been tested and through the fire, so to speak. And so something else that really caught my attention is not only the fact that there's just no way around it, that when Maitreya arrives, one of the first things he does is come after the Christians in America. He's going to come after them because when he comes, he's mad. He's mad as heck because we've destroyed a lot of his forces. And I don't know if that will ever be public. I know he's going to make it public. They're going to lie. They're going to try to deny it. But just understand this: if it wasn't so destructive to them, they wouldn't even bother. They wouldn't even bother mentioning it or giving it attention to the public. We've destroyed thousands of millions of their forces, and